Okay, guys, as you can see from my gallery, I've been on a little bit of a rocket designing kick as of late. So we're going to continue with that theme. We're going to do a rocket-shaped pencil case. So this is going to be a two-part project. Okay, and one of the things we're going to learn to do is to make two parts that fit together nicely. So let's create a new design. And as always, I'm going to rename my file Rocket Pencil Case. For my students, this is going to be an extra credit assignment. Okay, so we've renamed it. Let's edit our grid. We're going to be working in inches, so we'll change from millimeters to inches and update our grid. And as always, we want to drag the ruler tool to the lower left-hand corner of the work plane. Okay, so that puts us ready to start designing. We're going to start out with the cylinder shape. Drag it to your work plane. We're going to try making this one 1.5 in diameter. So 1.5 on the x-axis, 1.5 on the y-axis, front and left side. Okay. Now, one thing I want to remember to do right away, remember that our cylinder is actually a multi-sided polygon. So this is a polygon with 20 sides around the circumference of what's beginning to look like a circle. The more sides we give it, the more it resembles a smooth circle. So we're going to drag it all the way over to 64. Okay. Now we've changed our diameter to 1.5, 1.5. We're going to make this, let's go 6.25 tall. Okay, so 6.25. There we go. That's our fuselage. Now, this is going to be the bottom half of our pencil case. So we need to create the fins. And we're going to use this shape called the roof. Drag it onto your work plane. And now we notice that it's 1 inch wide and it's only 1/2 inch tall. So this slope is basically moving in too fast. It is running faster than it's rising. So we need the opposite. We need it to rise faster than it runs. So I need this number here to be larger than this number here. And what I'm going to do, well, also, this needs to be wider than our fuselage. So let's make this, let's try 3. Enter. Okay. Now, let's go with 5. Enter. 5 inches tall. And then we want it to be skinny, a fin. So we're going to make it about 0.1. Let's try that. Okay. Let's just kind of stick it in there and see what that's going to look like. I think those look pretty good. Okay. So now we've got 2 fins. We want to have 4 fins. So we're going to duplicate this shape. So again, those measurements are 3 across the x-axis. The y-axis is 0.1. and the Z is 5. The height is 5. Okay, so I'm going to click on this duplicate tool. It looks like 3 pieces of paper. And it doesn't look like anything happened. But in actuality, there's 2 here now sitting in the same spot. Do you see this curved arrow right in front? I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to click on the 0 degrees and type in 90 and hit enter. And look what it did. It gave me another one at 90 degrees, perpendicular to the first 2. So let's, now notice I can't group it. That's because only this one is selected. So I need to click on my original fin, holding down Shift. Once I click on that, now it's giving me the option to group it. So I am going to group these 2 so that now it's one entity, okay, one shape. And I'm going to hold down Shift again, and I'm going to click on my cylinder. And now I can use the alignment tool. I can either come up here to the icon, or I can just click the letter L on my keyboard. Okay? I'm going to center it on the x-axis, and I'm going to center it on the y-axis. And now, if I like the look of that, I can group these 2. And now, basically, I have one fuselage ready to go. Okay? The important thing to remember is that my diameter is 1.5. Okay? Now we're going to make a nose cone that will slip over the top of this. So, I'm going to drag another cylinder out. And I want the diameter to be a little bit more than the size of this because I want it to slip snugly over the top of my bottom piece. So I am going to make it 1.54 in diameter. In other words, 0.04 of an inch larger in diameter. When I measured the thickness of these walls that we get when we print these, it's 0.015 or 0.15 of an inch. If we double that, we get 15 thousandths of an inch. If we double that, we get 0.03 or 30 thousandths of an inch. So I've added one more hundredth just to give it a little bit of extra tolerance, a little bit wider. And now, since we're working with the cylinder, I want to maximize my sides to 64 again. Okay, and we are going to leave this 1 inch deep. Now, or tall, what I'm going to do is bring out this paraboloid, I believe it's called, and I'm going to give this the same base diameter. So 1.54, 1.54. And now I need to make this taller. For one thing, it's sloping too much. So let's go 2.5 and see how that looks. Yeah, I like the way that looks. Now, I'm maximized on steps or sides. So that's as many as I can do, 24. I do have a workaround for this, but that's a little more advanced. So basically what we're going to do now is lift this nose cone up onto this cylinder. Remember that this was 1 inch tall, so I'm going to raise this 1 inch off of the work plane by typing on the 0 and changing it to 1. Now let's hold down Shift and click on our cylinder so that they're both selected, and we'll hit the L on our keyboard to get the alignment tool, and I'll center it on the x-axis and center it on the y-axis, and I will group these two pieces. And now what we're going to do, notice this is 3.5 inches tall. I need to cut a little flat bit off of the top of this because I'm going to be printing it upside down. So I'm going to bring this out and raise it up to, let's go 3.25. Enter. So I replaced the 0 with 3.25. Now I'm going to hold down Shift and click on my nose cone. Click on the L. Align them, center them on the x-axis, center them on the y-axis, and group them. And now I've got a flat bit there. Okay, so I'm going to click on this curved arrow, and I'm going to spin it 180 degrees. So now it is sitting on the nose cone. Okay, so from here, what we would do is click on one object, click on the export button, export it as an STL, and now I want to change my name slightly to, I'll just put NC. NC for nose cone, okay, and save. Okay, so now I deselect my nose cone and I select the base of my rocket, and I do basically the same thing. Export, STL. This time I will add the word base. Okay, and now I've got my two files saved that I can import into my slicer to print these using VACE mode. Okay, that's it for this lesson.